Welcome to the D Shift podcast, where we provide inspiration, motivation, and education to help you transition from the challenges of divorce to discover the freedom and ability to live life on your own terms. Are you ready? Let's get this shift started. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the D Shift podcast. And today we are going to cover, as always, I think all of our topics are important, but today we're going to talk about something that is a true resource for men, women, and families going through divorce, which is really unique. There's not a lot of services that offer everything that you could look for all sort of in one container. So I want to introduce you to Ron Platt. He is the co-founder of the National Association for Single and Divorced Families. And like I said, they provide products, services, support, and resources for anyone in divorce, going through divorce, post-divorce, or now living as a single parent family. So I think this is, like I said, I think this is phenomenal. And we're going to talk all about his organization and what they can do for you and how they can help you. So Ron, welcome.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you taking the time out to get to know us better today.
Well, and I love to share things that are going to be practical and useful for people because there is, let's face it, there's a lot of stuff in divorce that gets marketed to people that they probably don't really need.
Right.
And this is something, I mean, the service you're offering is phenomenal. So before we get into that, though, tell us a little bit about yourself and why this is an area of passion for you.
I always like to joke. I was born, picture Italy, 1932. I was a little girl now.
Yeah, it's just like Golden Girls, right?
Exactly.
That's right.
A little bit about myself. Let's see. I was in the insurance business for 16 years doing product development, which is actually how this idea came to be. And then I've been in real estate for the past 24 years. And the way this started was a brief conversation that my dad and I had when I was in the insurance business with him, where he said, I've always wanted to create a product that would guarantee child support and alimony for death, disability, and involuntary unemployment. And I said, that was genius. And I said, hey, wait, we have an association. Why don't we convert it for people who are getting divorced, currently divorced, or single family? That was 30 years ago. My
Wow.
dad tried like forever to go after every insurance company and see if they would be able to place this product for us, which I'll go into in more details later in our conversation. And we postponed the association up until that point, until now. And everything just came together at one time. My father has since passed, but the association came together, the product came together, and it was just meant to be at this point. So my passion for the association is based off of my own life experiences. I'm a foster parent. I am a foster parent. He's now my son, but I got him when he was 13 years old. And I began to see what was happening within the foster care system about how they were lacking certain services, how they were not able to provide him with such things as clothing and some other very simple life things that he needed. I'm fortunate enough to be in a financial position to be able to afford private care and other things that he needed. But he would literally point to me homeless children that were on the streets when I would drive him to school that I never saw before. And then once your brain begins to see those things, that's all you see. And I
Yes.
realized there's a problem here, and these kids are not being addressed. So I wanted to have a voice. I had a former business partner who left her husband in the middle of the night because he was an abusive husband. He locked the doors at night. She literally had to take her baby, go through the doggy door, and escape. And I watched her go through family court with him for years, trying to get sole custody of her child. And he was very wealthy and she had no money. And the way the court systems made it lag and lag and lag until the girl actually turned 13 years old and called the police when her dad picked her up and said, I don't want to go. And that's
Right.
what ended it. But the courts never decided. I thought, I got to try to fix that.
Yeah.
And then when I realized that anytime somebody files for divorce, if you go to Google and search divorce, you get about 5 pages of attorneys before you get to resources and services that people need. So there was like, okay, so we have people that we have women and children that need help. We have men that are also going through similar situations with child custody issues. We think first mothers need to have the children, not the fathers, but then we realize that the fathers are as equally able to raise that child. And sometimes it needs to go to the other parent, and they're not getting the same services as sometimes women get. So how do I make this an equal ground make it non-political, make it, so that we work with companies that are also non-political, non-judgmental, and be able to provide all these services and support for people who are in the process. And oh, by the way, if you're a single parent, this also works. And if you're even a single person and you want to take advantage of everything that we offer through our resources, go for it. We
Yeah.
really want to grow this the same way that AARP has grown their association. They cater to people who are 55 plus. They offer product services and support. They have 36 million members and they advocate for Social Security, Medicaid, and elder fraud. And now Congress won't make a change to Social Security or Medicare unless they consult AARP. So we want to be the advocates for those kids. And we want to be able to advocate for family courts and be able to advocate for parental rights and things of that nature. That's where
Yeah.
the passion comes from, is having to deal with my own, what I call undivorce, where I was in a 14-year relationship, not married, but the breakup was just as bad as a normal divorce, from having to learn how to be loved unconditionally versus conditionally, to having to lose my house to the breakup. A lot of things, all of it went into pouring it into this association.
Right, right. And I think a lot of people in the divorce field, and Ron, you and I are in a couple of groups together. So I know a little bit about your story, but don't you find that most people who are in the divorce field have either experienced the stress and the inefficiency of the family court system? And I don't care if you're in the United States, Canada, the UK, Australia, Europe, Africa. I hear stories from everybody. It's the same all over. It's not. Now, I have heard some of the Scandinavian countries are pretty decent if you're going through a divorce. They've got it, but they've got a different perspective on it. But like, don't you feel that people that are in this and have a passion for it really are the people that are making changes possible? They're slow to happen, but they're starting to happen.
The process of getting a divorce is huge. It's a whole life change that most people don't want to have to make, because we become very complacent,
Right.
which is some of the reasons why we get divorced, is because the complacency has gone into our marriage. But they just don't want to do this. And now they have to navigate the legal system, and it's hard
Yeah.
and it's long
Yeah.
and it can get really expensive. So how do we help these people bring that cost down? How do we help them? Not necessarily, and I don't mean to, family law attorneys are my big customers, but sometimes you don't need a family law attorney.
Right.
Sometimes you need a mediator. Sometimes you need a divorce coach. Sometimes you need somebody just to sit and have a conversation with, to see if there's an alternative
Right.
to the length and the process.
Right, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit now about the National Association for Single and Divorced Families. So in a kind of a 360-degree perspective of this, what is the National Association going to do for people, and what's contained within the umbrella of professionals
Sure.
resources within your organization?
So as we like to say, we provide product, services, support, and resources. So for a $19 monthly membership fee, and I'm looking at my notes now because we have so many services that we provide. What do people need when they're in the process of getting a divorce? If you're an at-home mom, at-home dad, or or that you've been relying on a partner for certain things, well, probably getting your kids into some kind of daycare so that you can go and get that job. So we offer, through a company called Learning Care Group, 10% off of tuition. Uh, there's a priority enrollment. In fact, we have a conversation with them tomorrow to see if we can get our members a 25% discount versus 10%. And that's schools like Montessori, La Petite Academy, UGRO. A lot of the big names are out there that we have through us. Diaper and formula discounts. We have a nurse hotline. If your kid gets sick and you can't reach the doctor, it's free. Just pick up the phone. It's 24/7. And you can also reach a doctor just in case you need a prescription of some kind. The one I like a lot, of course, because I'm a realtor, is our realtor resources. Now, you're going to need to buy or sell when you get a divorce. If you go to your friend who's a realtor, great. You're going to pay him a 2 or 3% commission to sell it, or maybe 6%, and then you're going to give 3% away. If you come to our association and you ask us for a referral, we're going to refer you to 2 agents that are in your area that have been vetted by us who understand the concept of divorce and the challenges that are there. And then what we're going to do is when they send me, so I'm going to send them a 25% referral fee that they're going to pay me at closing, but I'm going to give back that 25% to my member towards their closing costs. So anytime you buy or sell, that could easily equate to something like $3,000 to $5,000, $7,000 towards your towards your closing costs. We have career services because you might need to go out and re-engage the job community, but you don't know what you want to do because you've been an at-home parent. So they have this, you have a gap where you decided you had this profession that you did great at and you made a lot of money, six figures, then you started raising children and now there's a 15-year gap or a 10-year gap. How do you get back into the job force? We have a great company that they have about 15 different videos, free videos for you to watch that tell you how to update your LinkedIn, your resume, how to apply for a job, how to get in front of the recruiter. And if you still need one-on-one counseling, we have a great service that does that so that they can get on there and say, how can I help you? I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. Well, let's go through the process and figure that out. We have we have Office Max, Office Depot discounts for children's back to school. We have computer discounts. I'm looking at we have mediation services, counseling services. Here's the one I like a lot. Like I said, you're going to probably need some kind of mental health care for either the children or yourself. With our system right now, today, it's 3 free mental health sessions and then discounted sessions thereafter. Right around October, November, we're going to be able to increase that to 8 free sessions per condition. So if you have anxiety and depression, you can now get 16 free mental health care sessions and then discounted sessions thereafter. So along with a lot of other things that we offer, I call this the Costco effect. Costco has 178 million members, which is half the US population, which I think is crazy. But they are able to go to manufacturers and say, I have 178 million people. What kind of discount can you give me?
Right.
That's where we want to be. We want to have a large enough membership. I mean, AARP has 36 million members. We want to be able to have a large enough membership that we can go to not Costco, but say Publix or Safeway or Piggly Wiggly or whoever your grocery store is and say, can you give our members a discount for formulas, diapers, baby needs, baby care, things like that? Go to companies like AutoNation and say, so our people are going to need a car. Can you go ahead and give us a discount?
Right.
And it just keeps growing from there. Like, who else can we go to?
Right.
I'm in the process right now of looking for a credit card company like Care Credit. Care Credit, if you don't know, only lets you use it for cosmetic surgery or pet care. I want a credit card that enables my members to hire an attorney. A lot of them, if you're relying on your partner to support you and you suddenly leave that partner, you can't afford the $5,000 retainer.
Right.
So if you apply for the credit card and you have, say, a minimal credit score of 500 or 550, we'll give you a $5,000 or $10,000 credit line that you can now go and pay for those legal services, mediation services, court costs. That's all I want it used for, so that you have that head start.
Right.
So that's one of the things I'm working on right now, amongst a lot of other things, to be able to say, what do they need? And of course, feedback is always great.
Right. Right. And I really like this idea. And I just want to throw this out there. I'm not being compensated. I'm not, there's no affiliate relationship between Ron's organization and myself. I just want to share that this resource is out there for people. And I really like the idea of making it so that the members, and this is a membership, so I want to be clear on that you can then pick and choose which services work best for you. I just want to touch base with the counseling part. Are you representing throughout every state? Because I know attorneys and counselors and a lot of financial professionals are state licensed. So
yeah.
Is it nationwide, and is it only in the United States, or is it available in other countries at this time?
At the moment, we're in the US. I do want to, as soon as our membership gets to a certain point, I do want to start going into Canada as well, and then possibly Mexico. It depends on what services they need and what providers are down there.
Right.
So right now we are throughout the US. And what my co-founder is doing is she's actually sourcing attorneys, mediators, divorce attorneys, state by state, so that and these would be vetted, so that you can go to our website, say you're in Nebraska,
Right.
and you need an attorney, you could look for the ones that we have vetted for all services. That's taking a little longer. It's a very arduous process, but she's working diligently on that so that we can add that to our website and you can start accessing that.
Yeah, this sounds fantastic. And I want to just mention, and I don't want to give any numbers because numbers can change, but this is an extremely reasonable membership, like less than, if you got kids, a McDonald's meal for the kids. It's for the whole month. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not one of those astronomical fee things. I do want to talk to you specifically about support insurance because I think, as we were talking about before we hopped on the recording here, that the fear of somebody stopping to pay child support, particularly for a single parent, whether it's the dad or the mom, it doesn't matter, who maybe is stay at home with the kids, or maybe dealing with a special needs child or children where working out of the home is not going to be possible. This support insurance to me sounds like just a phenomenal option. So can you talk a little bit about that and what it looks like in kind of in the real world?
Call it a stopgap type insurance. Currently, when you get a divorce, your attorney is going to make the payor typically purchase some kind of life insurance that if that person dies, your children's education and child support is going to be covered until they're 18 or 21. Well, that's great, but what if the person becomes disabled or suddenly becomes involuntarily unemployed? The company lays them off. If they have, I say him, it could be her or him. If they're an entrepreneur, say a restaurant owner, and then God forbid we have another COVID situation and they have to close the restaurant, or they've lost a big account and they have to close the business, we will continue making those child support and alimony payments for up to a year. So if they become disabled, and suddenly they're in a car accident, they're unable to work for 3, 4, 5 months, we will make those payments for you. So it's not something that can go on for, say, 20 years, but it is an annual renewal. So if, say, we've already paid out 12 months, there does need to be a time where that person's gotten a job or can come off a disability before we'll pay again. But it gives you that comfort level of knowing that if that peril happens, we'll cover it. I
Right.
had an attorney the other day say to me, well, the payer could always go back to court and ask for a suspension in child support and alimony until they get a job because their situation has changed. I said, well, that's great, but what about the person receiving the payments? You can't
Right.
say, oh, by the way, don't pay your rent or your mortgage until this guy gets a job again. So great that the courts give them that leeway, but what about the payee, the person
Yeah.
receiving?
Yeah.
That's why we want to be able to guarantee that that person's going to continue getting paid for up to a year.
Yeah. And just a couple of horror stories I've heard about those whole mandatory insurance policies. Person A, who's required to take out the insurance, can
Right.
go ahead, take it out today, and then stop making monthly payments tomorrow. And you don't know unless you are notified by the insurance company, which that person who owns the policy has to agree to let you be notified. And if they're not going to pay it, they're not going to let you be notified. So you don't actually even know that insurance isn't in place until you go to the insurance company to make a claim on it. So I love the idea of the annual renewal, and I do appreciate that it is a stopgap option. It's not, until if the kids are 3, it's not going to pay out till they're 18. But
Right.
hopefully, in the case of even a disability insurance, it takes months to get that stuff set up through the government and to get the actual payment. And yes, it's backdated and everything. But again, who's going to put meals on the table for the kids? Who's going to pay the rent or private education, whatever that money was going for? Just because it's coming sometime down the road does not help the parent who's managing the kids right now and is counting on those payments.
Exactly. I just want to emphasize we don't pay for deadbeat parents. So
Right.
if that person
Okay.
decides they don't want to pay, we don't suddenly start paying. The states are really good about regulating that as far as going after their garnishing their wages, their IRS refunds, things like that. We don't do that.
Yeah.
We're more about if the person loses their job because of downsizing or they've been let go and they're not receiving any kind of comp, not because they've decided, oh, I could quit my job and still have my payments. No, we don't pay for that.
Right, right. And that makes sense again because it is an insurance. It's not a whole life policy kind of it. Like it
Exactly.
doesn't
And
cover every possible
we don't
contingency.
want to go after the payer and ask for our money back.
Right.
So that's the situations we would get in. It just says, hey man, if you lose your job, we're going to go ahead and help you.
Yeah.
Uh, We are the first of its kind ever insurance product that provides this service. As I said, my dad tried for 30 years. It is a form of what we call credit insurance. So my dad would go to carriers that provide credit insurance and say, we want to make it for the divorce market, the same product, and they would say no.
Right.
So that's what took him so long. And unfortunately, I was able to find an insurance company at the last minute that did come back to me and said, we love this. Let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm guessing somebody somewhere high up in that insurance company either has a friend or family member who is struggling with this exact problem because that's how these things get done, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Somebody recognizes the human needs side of this. So Ron, you are doing phenomenal things. And what a great organization, association for people to become members of to take advantages of the various discounts and opportunities and options. And again, as the consumer taking out the membership, you get to pick and choose which one of these things. You don't have to take them all, right?
Correct.
You
It's
can pick
all
and choose.
available for you whenever you need it.
Right.
And as we continue to grow, there will be more and more and more products added. We're talking to a lot of different companies right now, and they've all said, once you hit this number, give us a call.
Yeah.
So we're excited about what's coming. And again, if there's somebody mentioned to me the other day, there's a divorce registry. Like when you get married, you tell your
Right.
friends what you need, but when you get a divorce, why not do the same thing? And there is actually a company out there well, there's a few companies out there that do that. And I thought, well, let's put it on the site.
Yeah.
Because when you're getting a divorce, automatically, here's the registry, tell your friends what you need. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
We can't think of everything, but we try to think of a lot. So we are always open up to suggestions, and if we can make it happen, we will.
Wonderful. Ron, out of all the information you shared today and all of the people that you deal with that are going through this very difficult life transition point, what do you think is the message you want people that are going through divorce, post divorce, or now single parenting? What do you want them to know?
I want them to know that we're trying to build you a stronger foundation during this process of turmoil, during this huge life change, that we want to be able to be the foundation that enables you to get back on your feet. And then once you're on your feet, to be able to continue using our resources. We want to be able to be an advocate and a voice for you and for your children, and letting you know that I know politics is a mean game, and nobody seems to be speaking for certain individuals because your voice might not be loud enough. We will make that voice loud enough. It is my passion and my desire to be able to sit in front of congressmen, senators, governors, and be able to say, you're slacking. And I've got, 100 million members that are about to go out and vote, and we need some changes to happen.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that we are truly taking care of our children and giving them a voice and making sure that they are in good households, that they are receiving proper care, and that families are able to focus on what they need to do, which is their family and support and other things that they need to do to have a healthy lifestyle.
Wonderful. And so the last step we need to do is how can people find out more about the National Association for Single and Divorced Families?
Absolutely. Super easy. And just go to www.nasdf.org, O-R-G, and you'll see our website. It's very easy to enroll in the insurance. By the way, either party can purchase the insurance, either the payor or the payee. If you're the payee, you do have to have information regarding the payer so that you can answer the questions. But all you would do is go to our site. You're going to see an insurance icon. Click on that. It says information and enrollment. Can't make it any simpler than that.
Yeah.
The premium is based off of your age and the amount that you're receiving. So if somebody says, can I buy more than I receive? The answer is go for it. I'm only going to pay you for what you're receiving. But if you want to give me more money, I'll take it. But don't do that. Just pay for what you're receiving, and that way you don't overpay. And then when you do that, it also comes with a much discounted 1-year membership to NASDF. If you want
Wonderful.
to check out some of our videos or learn more about us besides our website, you can go to YouTube, you can go to Instagram, you can go to Facebook. And LinkedIn. We're all under NASDF.org.
And I'll make sure all of that information is in the show notes to make it easy for people. Ron, thanks so much for sharing this valuable resource for people. And again, if you're interested in membership, head on over to the website and learn more.
Absolutely.
Ron, thank you.
Thank you, Marty. I really appreciate your time.
Oh, well, thank you. And it's wonderful. I believe in just sharing information and helping people out. Everybody's at a different level and what they need. And I want to thank you for listening into this episode of the D Shift podcast. And don't forget to tune in again next Tuesday. Thanks for listening and supporting the D Shift podcast. If you would like to attend live trainings by our amazing guests and have a chance to ask questions and get answers from our experts, join the D Shift crew. For more details and to sign up, head on over to www.divorcecoachforwomen and click on the podcast page.